Hi there, fellow virtual wastelanders. This is Cylon Surfer, and welcome back to a brand new mod development update video. Today we're going to be talking about the Virtual Reloads closed alpha test, which is currently available via my Patreon. So if you're interested in testing the mod, helping me work out a few quirks, bugs, etc., or just want to get a general feel of things to come, then please do subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Any support I get for this work, it goes a long way. So without further ado, let's kick things off, and we're going to take a look at the mod's ammo pouch. Now, this is an integral part of the mod. As default, as you can see, it's located here, slap bang in the middle of my chest. Now, this could be problematic for some of you using mods like Heisenberg, or perhaps even the now drastically out of date Virtual Chems. You may find this interferes with particular detection zones of those mods. So you may want to move this. You may also want to move it if you're wearing a bulky armor set, for example, and you'll find it half buried between your armor. And to move this, we can simply take our offhand, move it into the interaction zone of the pouch. When it's there, you'll feel a nice little haptic buzz, and then we just simply hold down the offhand grip button and we keep it held down until we hear a long buzz. We can now move this and we can position it in a better position. We could move it down to our hip, place it on our stomach, wherever you like really. And then as soon as it's in the position that we like, we can just release that grip button and it becomes stuck there. It is important to note that the pouch's position just gets saved based on your clothing / armor profile. So if I had some bulky armor on now, I could move it forwards a little bit to here perhaps, and then when I take that armor off, it will automatically snap back to the position here. Okay, nice little quality of life feature, and it just means that the ammo pouch is visible at all times. Now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the installation of the mod. Okay, so there are some important points to cover here. One of those being a new game. So many of you won't want to risk your current save, so you'll be starting a new game. Now, if you choose to do this, please do ensure that you disable virtual reloads before doing so. Okay, once you've got to this lovely area here, just outside of the starting vault, please do create a save, exit the game, enable the mod, and then feel free to continue with your playthrough. There are a couple of small little bugs which I'm trying to work out to do with the new game start. I'm sure I'll get those done soon, but for now, just disable the mod until you're in a safe location. Now, if you do wish to continue with your existing save, I can't stress enough, make up a backup of that save. It's safe. If anything did go wrong, this is an alpha, remember, then at least you can get back to that nice safe place that you were before without losing hundreds of hours of progress. No one wants that, so make a backup and then you should be good to go. Okay, I'm not aware of anything that would break your game, but better safe than sorry. Okay, so now that's out of the way, let's just take a look at a general reload. Now, of course, different weapons, they are going to have slightly different reload techniques, but the general principles are going to be the same across the board. Okay, so we're just going to take our 10mm pistol here. Now, I know many of you are going to be sick to death of seeing this at the moment, but it's a convenient weapon, it's at hand. So we can see we've got 11 rounds in this weapon at the moment, and if we wanted to reload it, so we're entering a building, we know we're going to be in for a firefight. Let's get this baby at its maximum capacity. So to do that, we're just going to press the game's vanilla reload button. Now, it is important that we use the vanilla reload button. If you've changed your bindings around, you will find there's an INI file. Now, that's located in Documents, My Games, Fallout 4 VR, and Virtual Reloads config, and in that folder you will find an INI file where you can set things like left-handed mode and change your buttons around to make sure that your reload button matches the game's expected reload button, etc. Okay, so we're going to press that reload button, which ejects our magazine onto the floor. We can now take our offhand and we can move it to the ammo pouch, which will open, and we can press and hold our offhand grip button. We now have some ammo in our hand. If we released our offhand grip at the moment, that will drop to the floor. Whoops. And what we need to do is pick up another one and then move it across. The general rule of thumb is the ammo goes where it was ejected from. Okay, so we know it came out of the stock here, so we're going to move it across. When it's in the right position, you'll feel a haptic buzz on this offhand, meaning that you can release grip and the magazine will be placed in there correctly. So now if we turn this back over, we can see we've got 13 rounds in this weapon. We had one in the chamber from the previous magazine, and we've just added a subsequent 12, so 13. Right, we're just going to fire these up. And when we get down to 1, we enter our dry fire state. Now, this state's very similar to what we've just seen, apart from we're going to actually have to interact with the weapon to complete the reload. Various other weapons are going to need an interaction from the get-go. For example, off the top of my head, a break action shotgun is either going to require you to manually lever up the front of the gun to close the where the shells go, or flick it up with your hand. Other weapons are going to require you to, say, close a cylinder or something like that. And that's all done with the offhand and, of course, the offhand grip button. Okay, so same process as before. We eject the magazine using the dominant hand's grip button. We move to our ammo pouch. We take a new magazine, move it across, release offhand grip, and now we need to interact with this weapon. So we move our offhand, and as soon as it enters an interaction zone, first thing you'll notice is you get some haptic feedback on both hands. Okay, that means we're hitting something solid. When rock finally gets to that position that we want it to, hopefully we'll actually be having our hands lock on, which would be very nice. But for now, we move it there and we press our offhand grip button and keep it held down. You get a little sound as well to say that you're now gripping something, and we can move this right back and then we can release it. That's it. This reload is now complete, and we've got 12 back in that weapon. Okay, so I'm just going to stow this back in its holster, and the next thing I want to talk about is the mods configuration tool. Now this is a bit of an advanced feature and something which I'm not really kind of targeting the alpha on at the moment, as I want to look at the base weapons and the DLC weapons. I think I've got them all, other than the small quantity which I've put on the unsupported list for the time being. I think it's about 6 or 7 weapons, mostly not so popular ones. So yes, they're the focus of the alpha, making sure they're all working in general gameplay. None of them go wrong in different situations, etc. But anyway, a few of you have already contacted me saying, hey, you know, how does this configuration tool work? I've managed to open it. It looks a bit daunting. So let's start by equipping a weapon. And this is a modded weapon, as you can see, a third-party weapon, quite a popular one from what I understand. And this would operate as normal to begin with. So if we want to enter configuration mode, the first thing that we need to do is hold down our sprint button. Now we can't be moving when we hold it down. Okay, we're going to be stood still for obvious reasons, and we hold down the sprint button, and after a few moments we'll find that the configuration menu opens. Now you'll note that it starts off with reload type unknown. So the first thing we'll need to do is cycle through our reload types to find the most suitable for this weapon. Now this weapon I've already looked at. I know that it operates similarly to the 10mm pistol, at least in terms of reloading, meaning that we can either eject the magazine and pop a new one straight in, or if we run the ammo count down to 0, then this should snap back to a position, and then would need to pull it all the way back and release it to complete a reload. Now I'm no firearms expert, so I have no idea where these kind of things should go, so you may find that my configuration for the 10mm pistol is hysterical, and you want to change it yourself, and you can use this tool to do exactly that. So we know that this needs to be a bolt and slide. Okay, so a bolt and slide is exactly what a 10mm pistol would do, the combat shotgun would do. Generally, it's probably the most popular reload type and will apply to most of the third-party weapons that you're configuring, I would assume. Okay, there are going to be other exceptions, but we'll go over those. So we can cycle through these, and we can then come to the break action. Break action, double-barreled shotgun, flare gun come to mind. Anything where the front of the gun hangs down and you have to put individual bullets into the chamber before cocking the front of the weapon back up to close the chambers. We then have cylinders. These are your .44, your pipe revolver, anything that has a cylinder that flops to the side where you add individual ammo to. We have any direct insert. Now, direct insert, that applies to, say, the minigun, but also a few other weapons in the game. It basically means that the magazine, you just eject the magazine, and then you just grab one from the ammo pouch and you put it back from where the magazine came from. This could also be used as a good stopgap if you're not entirely sure what kind of reload system to use for a particular third-party weapon. You know, it just gives you that manual reload feeling without having to manipulate the weapon. So, like I say, always a good stopgap if you're unsure. Then move on to laser. Now, this is going to be anything that has a fusion cell, the little yellow things, the little pills that you pop into the side. Be any of those. I'm not aware of a large quantity of third-party laser weapons. There could be some. I'm not a fan of the third-party weapons myself. Don't ask me why. I just could never be bothered to install them. So yes, it would be one of those. The important feature being that it has a latch on the side that once the ammo pops out, you just pop it in and then close the latch. Okay, it wouldn't apply to any other reload type. We then have the lever action, self-explanatory. Lever action where you have to push a lever and put it back to fire a second shot. There's only one in the base game, that's already configured. Third-party ones, mileage may vary, as I've noticed that some of the third-party ones don't use the same node names as Bethesda. But if they don't, then, you know, contact me. We can look at those. That's all part of looking at the this kind of stuff in the alpha. We then have bolt action. So those are your single shot, bolt, release, take a second shot type weapons, hunting rifle, sniper rifle, that kind of thing. As you can see, currently configured for left-handed, as the game doesn't, as default, come with any right-handed ones. No idea why. Well, I do. The gun was stuck to the right hand, but you know, that's that. We will expand that to right-handed, hopefully, at some point in the future. And then we go back to our unknown. And if we choose unknown and save, then a weapon is going to act exactly as it would as default. So if you don't particularly like a manual reload, you can just set a weapon to unknown, save it, and it'll be back to where it was originally. Okay, so we know that this weapon is a bolt and slide. So the first thing we're going to do is discuss these four bottom tiles here. So the general rule of thumb is that we work from the left to the right. We can go back and forwards and back and forwards as many times as we want to get that configuration just as we want. But general rule of thumb, left to right. When you're done, save. So the first thing we're going to do is the last round fired position. And this applies to this little part of the gun here, the bolt or the slide. And where it's going to go when it enters the dry fire position. So with this tile selected, we can use the dominant hand's analog stick to move that backwards. So I'm going to put it back halfway. Like I say, if you're a firearms expert and you're howling in laughter at the moment, I do apologise. Then we're going to go to our maximum reload position, and this is the position it needs to be pulled back to in order to be released to complete that reload. We're now going to look at the offhand ammo position, and that's going to place this weapon's ammo in our hand, and as we can see as default, it looks quite rubbish. And we can use both our analog sticks to move this forwards, left, right, up and down. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick bodge here for time's sake. So we're going to say it's going to go about there. And then our final step is to move to the FRIK finger poses. Now you can cycle through the fingers by pressing your sprint button. It starts with the thumb and ends with a little pinky and then cycles back around. I will try and get some kind of visual indication going to which finger you're on, but yeah, at the moment this is very much a dev tool and it needs some extra work to make it a little more user friendly. So we've got a finger selected and we just use our dominant hand's analog stick to move that finger up or down, or should I say open or close. Then we cycle to the next finger and the next and the next and the next, and I'm going to say I'm happy with that. If I wanted to move back, I can go here and I could say, oh yeah, that looks better like that, you know, up in more, that way more, whatever. And then as soon as I'm happy with everything, I can just go ahead and save that config. Now you will find now, as soon as you've done that, we've got 9 in here, and play it and move, we'll find out that yes, our bolts move backwards. We've now got our nice positioned ammo, and we need to move the slide back and release, and we're now back. Okay, and oh dear. Don't you just love impromptu moments in making videos? Okay, so rather a stupid thing to do, but there we go. Dangerous bit of kit this. Be careful. So that basically concludes today's video. We've gone through some of the basics. If you are interested in joining the closed alpha, then please do subscribe to my Patreon. As I mentioned before, all support is very much appreciated. Hundreds and hundreds of hours go into this kind of stuff, folks. Honestly, it takes a lot. So if you are interested, then please do feel free to join my Patreon. I've put a link in the description below for anyone that's interested. And if you do decide to join the closed alpha, then please do send me a message on Patreon, and I can send you across a link to a brand new Discord server where other alpha testers are testing the mod, and we're kind of discussing any bugs that you might have found, any areas where you feel there could be improvement, things that you don't quite feel work right, any of the vanilla or DLC weapons that I may have missed and need profiles creating, and also looking at when we can, some of the third-party weapons and things like that. Basically, the aim is get this mod where all of the base game and DLC weapons are working nicely, so then we can get this into a more open beta state where we can start looking at the third-party weapons and then get a full release on the go. Okay guys, well that's it for today. Take care and take it easy. Bye.